Welcome to Subtext Discourse. I'm your host, Michael Dooney, owner and director of Berlin-based gallery for contemporary art, Jarvis Dooney. For those listening for the first time, I hope through this podcast to shed some light on the art world and industry through conversations with artists, curators, collectors, and other participants in the field willing to share their experiences. For the first episode of 2020, I'll be speaking with Maria Gracia de Pedro. Among her many roles and responsibilities, Maria is the director of Jose de la Fuente Gallery, co-founder of Hiato Projects, fundraiser officer for Vessel, the editor at Daily Lazy, and guest lecturer at URJC Spain. I first met Maria during Talking Galleries Barcelona, which coincidentally will be happening next week, and we've been in contact since then and often speak about how life is running an art gallery. With that said, I hope you enjoy hearing our conversation. You're active in a lot of different areas, but were you ever an artist as well?
Yes.
Would you say that was your entry into the art world, or?
Yeah. So my parents took me when I was a child to painting lessons. And I guess that was the result from what I decided that I wanted to study fine arts because I wanted to become an artist. So I did the degree in fine arts. And in Spain, we have 4 years. Of the third year of my degree, I went to Italy for an Erasmus exchange. And when I was there, I decided that I felt more confident working with the artworks of my colleagues were producing instead of doing my own works. So after that year, I came back to Spain to finish the degree. And it was more like a curatorial project about different artworks, layout, exhibition design. So from that point, I stopped producing. So I'm not painting anymore. It's the question so many people ask me. So
do you ever miss it, or wish you could still do it sometimes?
No. I guess it's fulfilled now with the artworks my artists are doing.
Yeah.
So I don't have any. No, I go to exhibitions and I think I feel that gap with visiting exhibitions and art fair, artist studios. I really enjoy artist studios because you can see the person, not only the canvas in a gallery or white cube. When you see the studio, you can see so many things from the artist.
So did you do the masters directly after doing the bachelor studies?
No, well, more or less. So after I finished my degree, I moved to Italy for a Leonardo exchange. That was something we used to have in Europe. That was like 6 months internship abroad. So my first job experience was in a contemporary art gallery in Sicily. And meanwhile, I was working in the gallery. I started to study this master's in art market. So I have like 1 year of work experience in Italy. And after I started the master's. And meanwhile, I was living and working in Sicily. And I started to learn about curators, artists, galleries, art market. I felt that for me, Sicily was enough. And I wanted to learn more. So I moved to London because I thought was one of the core cities for the contemporary art. So I decided after 2 years working in a gallery in Italy that I wanted to move to London.
And did you start directly at Waterside Contemporary, or you were other places before?
Yeah, I have a couple of months settled down in London because it's a really large city and it's not an easy one. But yeah, after a couple of months in London, I started working with Waterside Contemporary.
And how long were you there for?
It was almost 2 years as well. Yeah, I got a call from a Spanish gallery that they offered me a duration job in a gallery. So I decided to move from UK. So it was more or less before Brexit. Things were happening somehow. But I really enjoyed the experience in London. For me, was until today the experience that I learned more about the art market, about galleries, different type of galleries, different artists, because we were representing a portfolio of UK and international artists, but they have really relevant political content. So was I learned how difficult it was to sell political works, and I learned a lot how to interact with institutions. That at the beginning I was more familiar with private clients and with the political artists, and they are really like multidisciplinary works. You need to approach more institutions, foundations. So
Yeah.
I really enjoy, and we were doing fairs like Arco Madrid, or we did first Istanbul, Art Brussels. So it was really good experience.
Wow. So it's quite a learning curve, I guess, going to London after Italy.
Yeah, I felt that Italy is, and now that I know more about the market, Italy, Spain, Portugal, all these like sort of Mediterranean countries, we have the same problem and the same level of artists, more or less, and galleries. But going to London was something really completely different. So now every time I try to go to London every couple of months to see. And I realized, for example, it was funny a couple of weeks ago. Now in Spain, we have so many artists working with ceramics.
Mhm.
And in London, that was happening probably 3 years ago. And now it's not happening anymore, or it's happening, but it's not like before. So you can get sort of new things in London earlier than we get in our countries.
Really? Wow. Okay. I always wondered that. I guess coming from Australia, we always saw Europe as where things were
Yeah.
happening first. So even from within Europe, you find going to the UK or to London specifically,
Yeah.
that they're a lot more in front. How is it different culturally as well? I wonder, because I've seen with, I suppose, with Arco and other fairs, that there seems to be a lot happening anyway within the Spanish-speaking world. Is there almost like two markets parallel?
Well, it's difficult to say. I mean, Arco has a really international, really good reputation since Carlos was directing Arco, and now with Maribel, it's really international position, and one of, I guess, I read something, was one of the best 5 art fairs in Europe, something like that. But it's because we get so many international collectors coming to Arco. So it's because Arco is a really good art fair to Latin Americans coming to Europe, because they really enjoy, because it's not only the galleries, they have a really vibrant program of VIP activities, museums, artist studios. So I guess Arco is good not only because the Spanish institutions are buying, it's as well really good because we gather so many international collectors and foundations that really like to come to Madrid.
And so since you left London, you've been based in, are you from Madrid?
No, I'm from Zaragoza. It's more or less in between Barcelona and Madrid. So if you put a line in between the two cities. But I left my hometown when I was 18 because we don't have an art scene there. We have 2-3 galleries are doing really good work, but the problem is that the municipality is not helping. So a small gallery or even a medium-sized gallery, if you are in the periphery and if you don't have any help from the municipality or the government of your region, it's impossible to have to go to art fairs. It's difficult. It's the same what happened to us. Being in the periphery, Santander is north of Spain. It's not easy to gather collectors, foundations, curators. All people goes to Madrid to see the exhibitions, but they don't go to Santander, for example.
No. But you were saying they have, you get support from the city then, like Madrid does or Barcelona does to some extent?
Yeah. So, for example, in the gallery is based in Santander, so it's north of Spain.
Mm-hmm.
And we get, good help from the municipality for the art fairs. If you go to an art fair with an artist from the region, they give you couple of points more in a sort of like, how can I say, more or less, it's like you make an application saying that you are going to an art fair, and it depends the quality, the number of artists, the number of Spanish artists, the number of artists of the region, you get different point marks. After you apply with how much money you spend, and you ask the money you want, and obviously after they give you a percentage of that, at least give you the possibility, because sometimes it's 40-50% of the money you spend in an art fair. So that is really good.
Yeah, because I don't know if you'd heard, the Berlin or Art Berlin has recently closed, and a lot of the criticism from the galleries was that there wasn't any state support for the fair itself. And yeah, by the sounds of things in Spain, or from at least within Madrid, you're incentivized to show local artists and to bring people from within the region and present their work at the fair, so that when international people come to the city, they'll be able to experience the work.
Yeah, that is really good. And it was what happened to my hometown, that the municipality is not giving this money, and as well, as well, because you have a gallery, that going to art fairs is it's not easy, because we have so many galleries, really good quality of artists, and they are not so many collectors. So it's if you don't have other helps, other incomes, it's difficult to approach art fairs. So I guess in Spain, we have Ministry of Culture that they help us to do international art fairs too. So at least we have a couple of good supports that help galleries, and they have a really nice list of galleries. They will support you, like Art Basel, Frieze, Art Brussels. They know exactly which are the art fairs are good in the international artist scene.
Yeah. So in Santander, you're working at Jose de la Fuente, if I'm saying it correctly. Yeah. Are you the director?
Yeah.
And how long have you been there for?
It's almost 2 years and a half.
Is that since you left London? You went directly to?
No, I did an experience in another gallery, but they closed. So yeah, but more or less it's the first experience I get since I came back from London. But I knew already the owner of the gallery, because we were doing similar art fairs. We were Spanish, so we were meeting at the art fairs always and speaking about how the art fair went and all those things. So I knew already the gallery and the artists the gallery were representing. So I felt for me that I have been working for a gallery for more than 2 or 3 years now.
Looking at the program, and even they're a mid-level gallery, I think, based on the art fairs that you participate at, would you say? Or they're...
Yeah. Personally,
it's difficult with the rankings, I suppose, when they say small, mid-level, large, mega, and the different ones.
Yeah. Well, I can say that probably closed me some doors, but I'm not interested in a blue chip gallery. I really like medium-sized galleries with medium team, that you are not 30, 40 people working in the gallery, because I like to speak with the artists at the same time. I like being in charge of the exhibition design and speaking with collectors. Mm-hmm. So if you work in a really large gallery, you do one thing and you don't get to know the artists probably, or you don't get to know the collectors or going to the art fairs. So the gallery opens in 2007, but with a different name. And in 2014, Jose, that is the owner, decided to reshape the gallery, because obviously after a couple of years, he wanted to redefine the direction of the gallery and started to work with more international artists. So let's say that now the gallery, it's almost 5 years. We have been working with national and international artists. We have a lot of Latin Americans, but I guess was as well before of easy communication way, because they speak Spanish as well. So for the founder was a good point to do that. And we have been doing Artbo in Bogota, the art fair, and it was good for us to expand towards Latin America. But last year we stopped and we were focusing now more in the European artist scene. So, for example, we participated at Code in Copenhagen. We were doing more international art events like Arco Lisbon, for example.
Oh, we were at Loop together last year as well.
Yeah, last year, yes.
Yeah,
Sorry.
last year. Yeah, last year it is now. Yeah.
It was a couple of days ago last year.
How do you feel? I guess you've been in the art world quite a number of years now. And if I think when I started my gallery in 2013, becoming more aware of the market, how do you feel that it has changed in the last sort of 5-10 years?
The digitalization now of the art market, I think, is something that revitalized the art world in the last years. It's true that, for example, now I know more than what I knew 7 years ago when I started, obviously. So for me now, it's all different. But I guess now, if you don't have a really good communication channels through internet, you are not in the art market. And it was happened to a gallery in the periphery, but I guess it's the same for the gallery in Madrid, Berlin, or London, because you have more galleries in the same city and you need to be the good one or the one that is all the time in the press and social media. So I guess for us, for example, social media is a tool that we use every day in order to share what we are doing, because people cannot come to the gallery every month or every year to visit us because we are not in the center. For us, the good photos, the good communication, press, articles in magazines are our communication channels to tell people what we are doing.
Mm-hmm. And do you still see that fairs are very essential?
Well, that is a difficult question. I think that for us, our workers, and as you say, medium-sized galleries, we are struggling for the position in the big art fairs. We go there, and after we have these titans that they coach the main attention. For our gallery model, we like to do some big fairs like Arco, for example, but we really enjoy doing other small ones, like, for example, propositions in Brussels. Because when you do one of the small ones, you don't have that risk that you have when you do a large art fair, and you can do different things. And when you are not risking a lot of thousands, you can tell the artist to make a different proposals that can be more attractive to the people. I'm not sure about what is happening with the future of art fairs, because I have been speaking with some art colleagues, galleries, the last couple of months, asking about which are the art fairs they are applying for the next, or for the year we are now, not to 2020. Some of them are really thinking about other collaborative proposals. So instead of going to art fairs to try to make alliances with other galleries. So it's what, for example, we do in the gallery. We have a project called Orbital Projects that every year we do a collaboration with a gallery or gallery curator or artist run space abroad, and we move the gallery for a bit to another country. So, for example, now we have an exhibition in Turin, in Italy. It's a collaboration with a big gallery. So they have 2 floors. They have their exhibition by Jean Mouchet in the first floor. And in the second floor, we have our exhibition solo show by Bianca Bondi that is around 120 square meters of exhibition. And we open the week that the Artissima Art Fair opened in Turin. So we took the opportunity that so many collectors were in Turin for the fair. We have the opportunity of going to the events of that the fair was organizing. We have that opportunity. And at the same time, now the exhibition, it's on until 25th of January. So the exhibition was not as short as an art fair, that you have only 1 week and you need to fight with the other galleries and, well, let's say fight, but I mean...
compete.
Compete. But it's more difficult to get some press if you are 1 week, 100 galleries in the same space, that if you do an exhibition for 3 months long. So it's a project, for example, last year we did in Cologne with Casting Gallery. We did a collaboration exhibition of 2 months, during DC Open. That is this Düsseldorf Cologne event. So we were part in the catalog of Düsseldorf Cologne. We have groups of collectors, groups of art writers coming to the gallery. So we always try to do the art first, but at the same time do other collaborative projects.
Yeah. Do you feel that's becoming more necessary for galleries now to stay relevant and to keep people's attention?
I think now galleries, they need to collaborate in between them. That in this moment that probably people are looking a lot to these big galleries, to these blue chip galleries, the medium one and the small ones even. We need to discover how we can collaborate in between galleries. And it's what we see in projects like Hondo in London, or I spoke with some friends last week and they say, oh, we are sharing the booth, the two galleries, because, if not, it's really expensive. But if you do with a gallery, you have similar program or you share an artist, it's easier and you can take the opportunity of meet the contacts the other gallery has. I think now for me, the word for the art world needs to be like collaborative, that we need to speak because we all more or less are facing the same problems. It's like we need to speak because sometimes we are afraid like, oh, we cannot say the fair went really bad because how people is going to think. If after we are all approaching the same problems, we can probably find not solutions, but like better ways to understand how we can improve our gallery program or where do we need to invest the money. Because the art fairs are always for this CV sometimes that, oh, they were at Freeze or they were, but you cannot go to Freeze and be in 1 year like without money to do your program.
Yeah.
So it's not that you go there, but after life continues. So it's really risky. I think the fairs now we see that they are shaping, they are changing. I saw that now, for example, our Brussels, they introduced a new section with, I cannot remember now exactly how it's called, but it was something like galleries / project spaces, digital spaces, and they include 6 spaces that some of them, they don't have a space.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they did that at Art Berlin last year. But I mean, Art Berlin is cancelled now, unfortunately. But they had a small section as well. It's kind of, let's just call them new model spaces. So they didn't have a permanent exhibition room, but they might have had an office or a publication. And then they just had a small area with those spaces. From the few that I spoke to, they said, yeah, it was good to be included in the fair. I suppose we won't ever see how that will evolve for them.
Yeah, I just having a look now at our Brussels website, and they say this thing like the section that includes gallery that challenge the traditional gallery model. So it's a new section. It's, as you say, they don't need to have a physical space. That was the requirement. All the art fairs they have, that you have 4 exhibitions, 5 per year. You open regularly during the week. And now it seems that they are introducing these other things that, from my point of view, they are completely necessary.
Parallel to the work that you do as the director of Jose de la Fuente, you're also writing your PhD at the moment. Or have you started your PhD or you're...
I started 2017, 2018. Sorry, times pass so fast. So I started 2017 and it was something that was coming from the problems I approached when I was an art student. So I studied in a small university where the teachers were not teaching us how to be in the market. So we were learning a lot how to paint, how to make sculptures, how to make, drawings, paintings. But at the moment we needed to leave the art school, we didn't know how to approach a gallery. We didn't know how to make a portfolio. We have no idea about what InDesign was. So since I finished my degree in 2012 and after with the master's in 2014, I realized that I didn't want to be an artist because I felt as well we were missing so many information in order how to be an artist. So when I did my master's, I did the final thesis of the master about the emerging art market in Spain. And now when I started 2 years ago, the PhD that hopefully will finish in a couple of years too, was more like to find new strategies for artists in order to enter in the market. So as now being a director of a gallery, we are receiving every day emails from artists that I'm sure happen to you too, that they want to have an exhibition, they want to give us their artworks. For an artist, the artworks are like their childs. I'm not giving my childs to someone I don't know. And what I'm doing, artists sometimes are like spamming because they cannot spend time in writing to every single gallery different emails. So they don't have a look if you are a gallery that works conceptual, political, minimal, and they are doing realism. So the PhD is more what I'm looking now. I'm in a stage that I'm having a look which are the differences in between some universities in Europe. So, for example, they have universities in Holland, London, Paris. They teach you how to sell your work. They teach you how to speak about your work. They tell you don't ask the gallery, you go, you visit the exhibitions to the gallery, you meet other artists, and you never approach the gallery. So what I'm doing now is to discover which are the artists they have been learning in these art schools in comparison with the artists they have been learning in other universities, like, for example, the university I studied, that we don't have artists of my generation because nobody teaches us how to enter in the market. So after a couple of years, you change and you decided to work in another field. So it's more like I'm creating a guidebook for artists inside of my PhD in order to teach them the things they don't need to do and the things they need to learn how to do. So how to make an easy website, how to communicate, because sometimes I really like an artwork, and I'm sure happens to you too. And after when you try to speak with the artist doesn't know how to speak about the artwork. So it's important to transmit, because if the artist knows about what he's speaking, after it's easy to sell and all goes in a row.
That reminds me, actually, speaking to some of the artists about this, that in my experience, there still seems to be a negative perception around galleries, that they need a gallery, but they don't want to necessarily work with the gallery because they feel that the gallery's taking something away from them, or that they'll be taken advantage of. And they don't, maybe they don't understand the differences in the roles and how it's important to work together and have a good collaborative relationship for both parties to succeed.
Yeah, I guess I have been learning in a university where 90% of the teachers, they were artists, that they were not successful. They were not in the market. And I have been hearing for all 4 years long, the galleries are bad. The galleries take your money. The galleries take you 50%, that is a lot. Don't go with the galleries. And it's funny for me because I am the result of all these comments that don't go with the galleries. Galleries steal your money. And suddenly, after I finished my degree of not going with galleries, I started with a gallery. And now they are almost 7 years that I'm working always with galleries. And I remember the first time I came back to my university was when I was living in Italy. They invite me for a talk. And the first time I say, sometimes 50% that the gallery takes is not enough.
Yeah.
So, and the students were like shocked because they have these teachers still that they are telling them, oh, galleries takes you so much time. And I say, you need to be in the two parts of the art market. So for sure, artists, they work a lot in the studio, so many hours, and they need to make website, they need to make their profile now with Instagram and all this stuff. But I say, when you work inside a gallery and you see how much money you invest in your employees, in the art fairs, in the rent, in the catalogs, and sometimes you think, well, probably 50 is not enough. And yeah, I think the teachers from my point of view, they are the ones that they need to change the approach, because the teachers are the ones are telling to the future artists that the galleries are bad. Because if after you have a great teacher, for example, I have the opportunity of being in a workshop with Pepo Salazar, that is a Spanish artist. He did the biennial, the Venice Biennial, a couple of editions ago. And he's a teacher at Parsons, a school of art in Paris. And he told me, when you enter at Parsons, you do the exams to be a teacher there. They ask you things about the market. They ask you, how do you know in the art market, curators, critics, collectors, because they always need professional artists to teach the students. They don't want a PhD doctor in art from 10,000 universities with really good marks. They want artists that are in the net now, and they can tell you what happens, how the invoices work, how you can explain an artwork, how you can deliver something. So that for me was really inspiring, because I think we need to have good teachers in our universities. We need to have good artists that teach you where the problems they were facing, so you can learn from the problems. Because we all know we learn from the mistakes.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's quite reassuring to hear, actually, because my experience has been exactly the same. That all of the lecturers and all of the teachers at the universities are themselves artists that have had less than positive experiences with galleries, and then they impose these views upon the students and say the galleries are your enemy when they should be your partner and you should be working together. Just wondering how much time we have before you have to go. But did you want to mention anything quickly about the parallel activities that you have? Because you're quite busy doing your PhD. You're the director of Jose de la Fuente. You also work at a university. You're fundraising for Vessel in Italy, and you co-founded Hiato, which I guess is a project space, or it's also a gallery.
It's not for profit. So it's more a contemporary art platform, digital platform, that I co-founded in 2018, and was mainly with the aim of supporting emerging artists.
Did that emerge out of your PhD research?
It was connected by Alessandro Leggio. He's an artist. We were always speaking about the problems, and as we mentioned, emerging artists are approaching how to reach the gallery, how to make an exhibition. So we decided that we knew a lot of artists of our generations and even younger that they were really interesting. So we started the project in 2018. And at the beginning, we were focusing with one artist per week in the profile and Instagram. So the idea was to create like an online portfolio. And last year already, 2019, we did an exhibition in Madrid with D11, that is another nonprofit space in the city. And we did an exhibition in New York with Pablo's Birthday Gallery, that they create the first collaborative project in between galleries and non-galleries to speak about the problem we have been speaking for the last 30 minutes, more or less. So it's more like a platform that for us was important to create a communication with the artists. So with that, I say that we don't take images from the artists, and we don't say we are going to feature your work. We contact the artists and we say, if you want to be in the platform, we start the conversation. So we ask the artist to decide 6 relevant works to create that portfolio. Mm-hmm. And after, sometimes we share with them, because we share with them our opinions, because they sent us 8 artworks. Oh, we want your opinion. I'm not able to only choose 6 artworks. So for us, it was more like to create a network.
Yeah.
To expand our network, that after living in different countries, to give the possibility of emerging artists. And the idea is to continue to do projects with them, sometimes to create some exhibitions or talk, some parallel events to speak about the matters we were speaking.
Yeah. Since you are active on a number of different platforms, and I imagine some artists will probably be hearing you speak in the podcast. What would your advice to them be if they thought, oh, I'm going to contact Maria now and write to her? And what would you say?
Well, I guess after what we have been doing, if they contact us, was because they were not hearing properly. I have so many artists. I'm really happy. I have so many artist friends. They contact me. Oh, I have a collector wants to buy something for me. I don't know how much. Tell him about the artwork. I never sold an artwork. So I really like to have these conversations with artists. So I'm always super open to speak about which are the problems they approach every day, because it's important to me, because I'm trying to find solutions to these problems or to make easier for them. So I guess obviously what they cannot do is to approach a gallery straight away. Like for me, what happened, even if you have really great works, if you send me an email without knowing each other saying I want to exhibit in your gallery, for me, it's already no, you are not going to do that because you don't know how the artwork is working nowadays. It's more like they need to communicate. And as the galleries we are starting doing now, that we speak about our problems and our needs, I think the artists, they need to share their thoughts with other artists, with curators, with critics. So obviously, I'm super open to receive emails about DOPs, about the art market, residencies, open calls, portfolios to give my opinion. But I guess it's because artists need to try too many things before realizing which is the best portfolio, which is the best speech about what they have been doing. So after doing mistakes, you learn and you reach the best portfolio, the best speech. And after, galleries are going to contact you, is what I'm always saying. If you apply to residencies, open calls, prices, after the galleries, we are always looking at which artist is in the residency, which artist won that prize. Does the artist have a gallery already? No. Do I want to see the studio? So if you are looking around the artwork, walking around the open calls, the exhibitions, group shows by curators, after the gallery will contact you.
Yeah, I think so. You need to be active in the field. If you're going to events and if you're applying and if you're participating, then people will find out what you're doing and who you are.
Yeah, that is probably you say the best word. Like to be active is the best they can do.
Yeah. Well, I think we've covered quite a lot. This is a really good chat, Maria. So yeah, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
And I guess I'm sure we'll cross paths again soon.
Yeah.
In the description below, I've included links to Maria's website together with social media and a handful of the galleries and initiatives that we spoke about. If you were wondering about the audio, this was the first conversation recorded via Skype, so thanks to Sebastian de la Luz for engineering the sound. As usual, I welcome and encourage any comments, questions, and feedback to this episode and others. Please subscribe, and if you do so wish, follow on social media to keep on top of the updates. Until next time, thank you for tuning in. My name's Michael Dooney, and you've been listening to Subtext and Discourse.